Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Here we are again.
Hey Liz, how you doing?
Good. Bernard, how you doing?
I'm very excited today.
Fantastic. I'm so glad to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing what the topic is going to be today for the Army Empire. I loved the premiere last week. I mean, you just educated us and it was fantastic. I saw that the numbers were going up during the week. You had some folks watching the replay. So we're excited to be here again and see what the topic is today.
Yes, it's going to be exciting, enlightening journey.
Ooh, like that. Well, I see some people already are on, so please comment and let us know that you're watching, where you're watching from. Are you here in Central Florida? Are you watching from somewhere else? Say hello. We'd love to see y'all interact. Here we go. We got the Aronson Insurance Group. I believe that's Jenna, our amazing friend, and her husband, Pete, that are watching. Last week was really good. Thank you. Yes, great information that I'm going to call Bernard my financial coach. Y'all could call him what you want to call him, but he's going to be my financial coach because I'm learning here as I'm co-hosting with him the podcast, and this is going to be fun. So what is the topic today about, Bernard?
The topic is kind of who and what influences your thinking. And it's a crazy topic. It's crazy. Something actually my pastor said something weeks ago, and it stuck with me. He said something very powerful. He said, just because you have a platform doesn't mean you have an authority to say and do something.
Oh, wait, say that again for the people in the back.
Just because you have a platform to say something doesn't mean you have the authority to be able to say what you're saying or what you're recommending.
Ooh, that's so good.
And I heard that because think about it. If you think about we're an incredible world of social media where you can anyone can have a podcast, a TikTok, or different things like that. It's an incredible venue to be able to kind of share the word, share with the world out there. But just there's a challenge with that. So, for example, not because because anyone can say anything on social media. Anyone can say anything on TikTok, right? And what happens so many times, and for a lot of topics, that works great. But the challenge with that, when it comes to your money, when it comes to your financial future, you have to be very, very, very careful and diligent who you listen to and who you take advice from, right? Well, some people might say, well, Bernard, you're having a podcast right now. You have what's going to separate you from everybody else? Great question. I learned something very powerful. There's kind of 4 different criteria to kind of measure who should you listen to or not. And maybe you can pull it up just to share with you. I'm going to go over each of these topics individually in depth. Okay. The first one, the 4 have proper influence. Number 1, you have to have a deep knowledge of what you're talking about. Right. And when it comes to, for example, us, we deal with financial plan, we deal with life insurance and investment. See, you got to have a deep knowledge on what you're saying. For example, one of the ways you can actually start to be able to have credibility in that market is what? You have to be licensed on both areas. You have to be licensed on life insurance part. You have to be licensed on the investment part. That's the first aspect to be able to say, you know what? You're getting some kind of knowledge on that, right? And because you have to know how each of them work. Because so many times you see recommendations out there. Well, this is great. This is good. But do you know both sciences? Do you know both topics? Are you licensed on both topics? How can you say this one doesn't work and this one does, unless you have licenses to be able to say, you know what, I understand how they work. So you have to have deep knowledge of what you're saying. And what's happening out there is so many people, when they're giving advice out there, Liz, they're only licensed on one area, right? Yeah. They're only ones licensed on one area. So they talk about that one area where they're licensed in, and they kind of spread, okay, it works for everything. No, it doesn't. right?
I like that you mentioned that. The fact that, and I want to reiterate that because there are so many social media platforms and so many people that do courses and do different things that you can easily be boggled down by so much information that you're really all over the place. And when it comes to my finances, I don't want to be all over the place. I want to know what the deal is.
Exactly, exactly. Because think about it. If you're licensed, I know it sounds very, very, it's funny, but if you say, if you are a hammer, everything you come across looks like a nail. I must say, if you're a hammer, everything you come looks like a nail. For example, if you just license on one aspect, right, on one topic, then everything you come across, you kind of paint everything. Okay, if you want investment, oh, life insurance is good. If you want retirement, use this plan. So, but it doesn't work that way, right? So because of that, that creates a very challenging situation for, because you have to have deep knowledge on topic, and whoever you talk to has to have deep knowledge. That's why I always recommend to my reps that work with me, get a license on both areas. Don't just get licensed on life insurance part. Get licensed also on the investment part, so you can do a total job for the consumer, so you can look at things from a holistic perspective, and you can give them the right advice that's going to guide them. That's the first one, deep knowledge. The second one. Yes. Second one is not measurable. It's called you have to have moral authority to talk about that. What am I sharing with you? What does it actually mean? I'll spend a little more time on that. Moral authority, for example, right? If you think about it, see, we're supposed to, when you're in a financial field, right? There's something called, that came out 5 years ago, which to me, it was kind of like, it should make sense. It says called regulation business best interest. That means if you're a financial professional, you're supposed to give recommendations that's always in the best interest of the consumer, not your interest. I'm gonna say it again. And that should be common sense, right or wrong. That should be normal, but that doesn't work that way. You're supposed to make a recommendation that's always in the best interest of the consumer, not your interest. See, you should never recommend something based on how much you're going to get paid for it, right? You should never recommend something based on, for example, this company or this product, they're going to give me send me to a trip if I do a lot more of these, right? See, you should never have a conflict of interest. But the challenge is, a lot of people in the financial field, they don't operate under that guideline. I'm gonna share something very important with you. There's a lot of products or strategies out there that's recommended where the client paying the same amount of money on a monthly basis. One strategy, the person, the rep that's doing it, will get paid 4 or 5 times more, right? Than the other strategy. Where the other strategy, for example, they might get paid more in the long run, right? More, but a lot of them, they get paid a lot of money up front. So because they can pay a lot of money up front, they tend to recommend that product. They tend to recommend that strategy, right? And it doesn't benefit the consumer in the long run. So that's a kind of moral dilemma people come across. Should I recommend? It should not be that way, but it's a fact. That's why you always ask, well, how much you're going to get paid versus, if you recommend this, how much you're going to get paid for this one versus this strategy? And share with me why. Strategy, right?
That's so good, because you're really talking about those folks who, because we're talking about moral, and the opposite of moral is immoral, is where they're thinking about their own pocket and they're not thinking about what the client needs.
Exactly, 100%. And another aspect of moral is, are you doing the same thing for you and your family? I always tell someone, right? I always say, listen, whenever I come across, I speak to my clients, I say, listen, if you want to find out whether someone is being kind of truthful with you, ask them a very simple question. What kind of product do you have for your family? What kind of strategy you have for your family? The second thing is, do you have it with the company that you recommend me is the best company? It's the best thing since sliced bread. And the third thing is, can you show it to me?
Ooh.
Can you show it to me? And because think about it, how are you going to recommend something you don't have for yourself?
Yeah, right? Something you don't even use.
Exactly. How you goes, oh man, this is the best. Oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Then you should have it for your family.
Right.
Right. So this is kind of and listen, this, I might step on some toes now. It might go viral, but it's the truth. That's why it's necessary. So moral authority is very important. The third one is experience.
Mm.
How much experience does someone has in that field? How much experience they have in the strategy they're recommending? And let me share some with you, Liz. The only thing how you measure experience is one word: time. Time. Time is only way you can get experience. You cannot get experience any other way. Even if you are a big producer, you do tons of business, doesn't give you experience. It just tells you a big producer. It
Mhm.
doesn't give you experience, right? For example, if you think about it, imagine someone's a newlywed, been married 3 years, and then the honeymoon stage, say, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk about how to have an incredible marriage. Yes, that could work, but you got to have time. It can help, but only time. Let's go 5, 10 years. Let's go after past, then you can share something, right? And experience also means if I'm recommending this strategy for the consumer, right? Do I have it? Can I show a track record that if I did this for the consumer, this is what's going to happen? Everything I said was going to happen, the way it's supposed to work is actually the way it worked,
Right.
right? Like a lot of times, sometimes you have financial people for they kind of recommend, oh, this is a great life insurance. The life insurance product is a great product for retirement. Well, can you share with me, and based on your experience, how many people were able to retire with the strategy you gave them?
Mm.
Can you share, or someone that means been around longer than you, able to share with them the strategy? Just something, share. You have to have a track record. See, a lot of times, a lot of people use hypotheticals. This what we like it to be, but instead using historicals, which is exactly what happened, right? So you gotta have it. You gotta get experience. Sometimes, if you're brand new in the industry, I'm not knocking anyone down. But use someone else's experience also. Make sure if you recommend, you can say, listen, can you show me this is if I recommend this to the consumer is actually gonna do what it's supposed to do? There's no such thing as 100%, but at least close to it. At least you gotta have a good track record, right? And that's another aspect of it, right? And what
I
and one
love
of the
this.
concerns and one of the concerns people have right now, especially, is especially with during election season, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, a lot of people concerned. I get clients, the election season, what should I do? Everybody's saying that this happened. What should I do with my money? My right choices. And I said, listen, I've been to. I can only speak for myself. This is my 7th election in the industry, right? So I can tell you, listen, just don't do anything. Just don't make any moves. Don't listen to the headlines. Invest with your head, not the headlines.
Very true. Man, you are dropping some truth bombs. If you're receiving this, drop some fire emojis or something to let us know that you are receiving something so good today by Bernard. So we spoke about deep knowledge on the topic. So
Yes,
this is the things that need to really influence our thinking.
yes,
First is the person that I'm sitting down with, do they have deep knowledge? Do they understand the topic? Number 2, moral authority, where they're considering more me than they are their pockets.
yes,
And
exactly,
I love that you said, here go the fire emojis. And I love that you said that experience equals time. There's got to be time behind to back them up. I love
exactly.
that.
Exactly. You got to have
Ooh.
time. That makes so much a big difference. And sometimes if you're brand new, that's fine. But make sure you use somebody else's experience, right? Always recommend something that say, you know what, if I recommend this, 100% when I recommend this, I can back it up. We can actually back it up. There's families that are able to experience exactly what we talked about, right?
Right.
And the fourth one, which is intangible, is called humility. How humble are you when you're communicating with people? How humble are you when there's disagreements happening? Sometimes I see so many advisors, for example, or they're like fighting with each other. This person has this, and you start kind of like, how can I say that? Bad mouthing this person. I don't believe in that. I mean, you gotta have humble. Number one, you have to be humble to learn. Okay, I'm always learning. The financial field is always growing. I learned something very powerful. A man or woman that resists change becomes obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a man or woman that resists change becomes obsolete. So you have to be humble when to be willing to learn, always willing to grow. The field's always changing, or things are getting better all the time. So you have to be willing to be humble. Okay, when it comes to that, and also humble when it comes to disagreements. Listen, it's the craziest thing, right? I have an office building, right? We have 2 doors down. There's another other individual. They do something totally different. I totally disagree what they do. But guess what happens? I talk to them. I'm I'm fine, right? I'm, hey, how you doing? Things like that. And listen, we had conversation. Listen, we're just gonna agree to disagree. I don't agree what you're recommending, but and listen, but it's totally up to you. I don't recommend it, so I'm not gonna debate with you which is better or not. That's just you chose to do, you chose that route. I chose that route. That's the best thing for me. Only thing I said, listen, but if you come across my client, if I feel you get the wrong recommendation, then we're gonna have a challenge, right? We're gonna have a challenge. Very simple. But other than that, I talk, and some people, they see, that's a challenge these days. A lot of people, it's like it become tribal. They're like, oh, they kind of argue with each other. They can't stand. They back, you see them on social media fighting. I start laughing, like, why? It's just, there's no reason for that, right? So you gotta take a humble approach, willing to learn, willing to grow when it comes to that aspect. Is that person willing to learn? Is that person, or they're like, oh, this is the way it is, and that's it, And that's something that's very open.
Yeah, I think that's really sad when you see people who are so prideful that they feel like they don't need to know everything. Like they already know everything that they need to know. So therefore they don't have a teachable spirit and they don't care to continue to grow and learn. And for that, you need humility. You're right.
Really. Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something I've learned. Sometimes someone say, "Well, this person has this product, and I ask them very simple. Listen, obviously you have reason to feel this way. Would you mind sharing that with me? Let me just listen why you feel this way, the way you feel, why you feel this is the best, and then I kind of listen. Okay, God gives us 2 ears and a mouth for a reason. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak, right? And a lot of times we want to listen. We always want we listen to respond, we're not listen just to listen, to really kind of, why is this person sharing with me? Why is causing them to feel this way? Why do they feel this way? Why do they feel they want maybe this product, this strategy? Maybe I need to listen a little bit more. And when we want to listen, you'll be able to kind of customize a solution for the person. One thing I love to do is listen. I love to listen to our clients, listen to their goal, listen to what their concern is, right? And I always look at the perspective, right? If I'm sitting down with Liz, if Liz was my sister, right, and she depended on me, if her life depended on my advice, what advice would I give her?
Right.
What advice would I give her? Right? If I'm talking to someone older than me, what if that was my mom, right? If I was talking to someone that's younger, what if that was my son, my daughter? What kind of advice would I give that person, right? And if you're looking from that perspective, and even in our field, right? If people take that perspective instead of looking at themselves, because we're a society sometimes that's, unfortunately, to worry about yourself. Just worry about yourself. Get as much as you can. But I believe we're in a world that if you can help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. 100%.
That's right. It'll turn back to you at some point when you least expect it. I love it. I love the comments that we're seeing here. Time is trackable. Man, oh man, he's on fire. And they're telling you to preach and, mentioning things that even the Bible says. The Bible says to be humble, and you're really sharing a lot of truth today with the folks. So let's do a recap of these 4 criterias.
Yes. First one is you got to have deep knowledge on the topic, deep knowledge on that. So let's say in our field, you have to be licensed in both areas, insurance and investment. That's the first step, to have deep knowledge, right? Second, you have the moral authority, right? Make sure you're recommending something that's always in the best interest of the consumer, not yours. Okay. And the third thing is experience. You got to have experience, and you only get experience through time. So if you don't have experience yourself, you're brand new, borrow somebody else's experience. Okay, borrow someone else's experience. And the fourth thing, approach everything from with humility. Listen, be humble when when you're speaking to the consumer. Don't act like you're better than them. Don't act like anything else. Just start with that. And if you follow those 4, and that applies to a lot of different topics, also not just the financial. You can apply anything.
All areas.
Exactly, and you'll be able to get the right results. Absolutely.
I love that. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
My financial coach. We have a question. So how should you allocate time? How do you allocate time when it comes to being with people?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. I learned this from one of my close friend, Chris H. I'm gonna give him credit for that, because he shared with me. He's very successful. He shared with me, listen, there's only 2 things that we invest. We all have, is time and money. There's one tool you can invest: time and money. And let me share some with you. You could actually have money and lose money, and you can get money back. Money is replaceable, but one thing you can never get back is time.
Okay, we got to write that down. Money's replaceable, but you can never get time back. That you cannot.
Exactly. Never.
So
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. And also, if you think about it, everybody is born different, but let me share some with you. Every single one of us, we have one thing in common. When we wake up in the morning, we have 24 hours to invest. We
Tell
have
me.
20. Yes. When you and I, every single one of us, some people have more money, some people might be better looking than others, have more hair, less hair than others, more money. But there's one thing that we all have. When you wake up in the morning, you have 24 hours to invest. A rich man has 24 hours a day. A poor man has 24 hours a day.
Wow, true.
Right? Either way. Now, how do you invest your time? I learned something very important, right? And you can spend a lot of time on that, but very simple. He called it 33% rule, right? That means you have to invest 33% of your time spending time with people that are doing way better than you to learn from.
Yes.
33% of your time, spend time with people that are doing way better than you, so they can help you grow.
Yes.
Okay? Here's the reason why. If you average if you look at your 5 closest friends, if you average out their income, guess what? That's your income.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it works, because we just like spend time with people that just like us, we feel comfortable with. But we have to spend time with people that do way better than you. Why is that? Because they're gonna stretch you. They're gonna get you see things from a different perspective. They're gonna have you have a different mindset. So if you want to grow, you have to spend 33% of your time with people that are doing way better than you and that are willing to mentor and help you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Loves
number one,
that.
right? 33% of your time with people that might be in the same level as you, but you want to get to the next level together. You want to grow together. You want to get to the next level together. Because you can spend time with people the same, but one person, they want to stay where they are. No, you can't spend time with them. Spend time with people that are maybe same level as you, but you're both trying to get to the next level.
Yeah, there's an elevation. Like we want to elevate. We want to get to a new dimension. We want to get to a new level. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. Exactly. And for example, we're part of a group, BNI group, Liz. That's how I met Liz. And we all business entrepreneurs, but we all trying to get to the next level. So we kind of learn from each other. We want to grow our businesses.
Yeah.
We want to be able to help so many. So you have to spend 30% with that category. Then 33% of your time with someone that may not be as fortunate as you, but they want to grow. They may not be as fortunate as you, but they want to get to where you are or better. Okay. So you're willing to help them, because here's what happens. A lot of time we spend time with people that are not willing to change. That are not willing to change. They
Isn't
don't want
that frustrating? That is frustrating. But yes, you're right. We need to identify those people.
Yes, they don't. I mean, they're complaining about their situation, but they don't want to grow. They're like, "Oh man, this is terrible. This is terrible. Okay, let's grow." Then I'm not interested. But then you can't help them. We love them, but you can't help them. And I think one thing is so important. We have to start spending time with people that we have a common future with, not people we had a common past with.
You better stop. You better stop. Like I'm gonna post some of the quotes today because this is really good. All right, say that again.
We have to willing to spend
Smoke
time.
coming out of my pen. I got smoke coming out of my pen.
Thank you. We have to spend time with people we have a common future with, not people we have a common past with. And that's what happens to a lot of people when mostly trying to grow, get to the next level in our lives. Sometimes is we try to take everyone with us, but you can't. Not everyone's willing to go. And so you have to spend time with people that are going the direction that you're going in. You love everybody, and sometimes it might be unfortunate. That might be your relative sometimes, right? People that you love, that you're close to, but listen, you still love them. But you say, listen, I love you, but I'm going to the next chapter in my life right now. And if you want to come with me, that's fine. But if you're not, because if I don't get there, I'll be hurting my family. And you might need me one day. And because I decide to stay where exactly you are, I can't help you.
Correct.
Okay. So that's something that's so important. So if we're willing to kind of look, so look at everything. How much time you're spending with people that are not willing to grow. And really, if you kind of look at it, look at your time from a different perspective, it'll make so much sense. So you won't waste your time, and you invest your time, and you can get a better rate of return on your time. Make sense?
This was so good. So good. Looking at the 4 criterias of, proper influence
Yes.
and how we think, and then discussing just these 33% of the people how we need to allocate our time with people and invest in these 24 hours that we all have every single day.
Yes.
What are you going to do with that time?
Yes.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're excited. We're excited about this, Liz. Thank you so much for all you do for us. I mean, we're eternally grateful for what you do. The time you spend with us to make sure that, and we're gonna have a lot of different we're gonna have a lot of different topics. I have 3, 4, 5 months of things we're just gonna share that's just gonna help people get value for us to grow from. Inspiring stories for so many different. It's incredible. So.
We want to go into that chest, that treasure chest, and keep giving us some gems. Keep giving us some gems. We want it here. Looks like your folks do too. I mean, look, he's saying here, gems, pure gems. So just keep sharing that stuff with us throughout the next couple of months as we continue to tackle some topics that you are an expert at.
Absolutely. And we learn, and everything that we share with you, I don't have a creative brain in my mind. I just learn. I was like a sponge and willing to learn. I learn from different people. I'm always learning. My antennas always, and I learn from my pastor. I learn from my mentors. I learn from even from a child. I learn from I'm always open, antennas always to learn, so I can improve myself and be able to give more to others too.
That's the key. Guys, don't forget to go on Facebook and follow the page. It is the Army Empire Podcast. Just type that in the search bar, and you got to type it just like that. The Army Empire Podcast. Like it, because once we get to 100 people who follow and like, we can go live on there as well, so that we will do a simulcast and be live. And then we're going to also open up the Instagram page really soon. Yes. So we're just going to be sharing and blessing people with knowledge. So that's excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next week at this exact same time, Tuesday at 8. Have a good one. Good night.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition. And until then, keep building your empire.